Welcome back, friends, to Build a Lot Acres. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. So for those new to the channel, my name's Case, and we do a lot of different projects here, including firewood, sawmilling, tractor work, property maintenance, building, all kinds of different things. Today's video is going to be a little different, and in the end of the video, I'm going to get into some of the reasons why I haven't been posting as much to YouTube. So the topic of today's video is going to be just the pure amount of entitlement and laziness that I see, across the board, whether that be in person or whether that be in social media, from comments people make or posts that they post. The amount of people expecting something for free or to get given things is mind-boggling here in 2023. I say this from, I've always been an extremely hard worker. Anyone that knows me in person can testify to that. Maybe hopefully someone will leave comments. But I've worked construction since I was 10 years old with my father. He had his own construction company. I would be up in the roofs in the summertime, school vacations, oftentimes weekends, and all weather. Could be -10 Fahrenheit, could be 100 degrees Fahrenheit in the summer. I was up there working, and I've kept that work ethic my whole life, and I've built myself a pretty nice life. Me and my family, we have a nice property. I have some nice toys. I have my Coyote tractor. I have a sawmill. I have a big property here that's nice and private, and people come here and visit, and they usually comment what a nice property it is. But that wasn't by mistake. I worked hard to get to that point through my life. Even now, I have a different job, but it's still in the construction industry, and I still work full-time in addition to doing YouTube. So if I add up, my full-time job plus YouTube, I'm probably putting in 60 to 70 hours most weeks, often more if I include, projects in the weekends, because oftentimes on Saturday and Sunday, I'll do, maybe 10 or 15 hours minimum on projects outside, whether that be building things or doing something for my wife or helping out family members with things. The point is, I've always been a hard worker, and it's frustrating to me to see how many people, look at it from a jaded lens and think how it must be nice and you've got given things, or you started off with an unfair opportunity, or you were privileged, or, all these different words you hear. The reality is, there's a lot of people that are successful and have nice things like I do, or even nicer, that started off with not great advantages or anything in life. They were just hard workers. They had drive. They were ambitious, willing to learn, willing to work, which I think is huge. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but all these places like restaurants and places of business and places that make things, they're all delayed because they can't get work. The other day I went out to lunch, and I waited literally like 40 minutes for a pizza to be made because they have no help, and it was just the two owners, who were two brothers. They said they can't get anyone to work. And that's like the common theme anywhere. You try to, get a part for something or order a new, let's say a wood splitter or something, and it's like a 2-year wait because either they can't get the parts or they don't have the help to make the machines. And I see a lot of people rejoicing about this stuff, saying, good, let them wait, or, finally, or, basically just alluding that they're proud in a way that people aren't working and they're sitting at home. And I think that's the wrong attitude to have as a country and as a person in general, because it affects everybody. The thing you might want or might need, might not be available for 2 years because you got to wait because no one wants to work. Yeah, it's great sitting at home watching TV and doing nothing. But I personally find that boring and not fulfilling. Let me know in the comments what you think. But, I'm not trying to make this into a political video. But we need to have a better attitude, in my opinion, here in America. We live a way better life than, I would say, the vast majority of the world. But all you hear is people say how this country's better or that country's better. Well, why aren't these people moving to those countries? And why are people from those countries moving here if that's the case? yeah, there's problems with America. I think there's things that could be improved for sure. But I don't believe going from a capitalist society to socialist or communist is the answer that we're looking for. I think that's going to be a dangerous thing. I think once you start putting all the power in the government's hands and you just pay these exorbitant amounts of taxes and let them control healthcare and food and jobs, there's a number of problems that are going to go along with that. Don't mind me, there's a lot of bugs out here, but I'm just going for a woods walk, so if I don't look at the camera the whole time, don't be offended. I just gotta watch where I'm going here. But there's a number of problems with that. Let's say we went to socialist and all of a sudden we're paying 60-70% of our pay into taxes to pay for all these free programs. What's the incentive for me to go to work just to pay 70% back out when my neighbor who doesn't work, let's say, which isn't the case, my neighbors are all hard workers, so this is just an example. But if my neighbor chose to not work, it could be anything. It could be neighbor, relative, friend, acquaintance, random person you don't know. If that person decides to not work and they still get all these free things, free healthcare, food, housing, whatever, what is the incentive for people to go to work? Do you not think it's possible people could just say, this isn't worth working, I might as well stay home and collect money? Now you have no one working. So I just don't understand how it's going to work. I think what you would see is the government forcing people to do certain jobs, and then they're going to pick what your job is. You might not have a choice. It might not be something you want to do. And it may be way more hours and effort than you're putting in now. Because, we have a lot of freedoms here that people take for granted that you don't get in other countries. And I think it's a really dangerous road for what people are wishing for and celebrating on social media and in person. So I guess the point is, just try to be a hard worker, do your best, try to live a good life, provide for yourself, provide for your family if you have a family. There's something to be proud of. There's nothing wrong with working and getting better opportunities and eventually working up to a position or a lifestyle that you ultimately want. That's what I'm trying to do here with YouTube. I have a full-time job, but eventually I would love to do YouTube full-time. But until the money makes sense, I'm not going to make that jump. I feel like a lot of people in my situation, they saw what I actually do behind the scenes on YouTube as far as hours and effort I put in and time away from my family that I'm doing YouTube. I think a lot of people would have quit by now. They don't realize the first 13 months I was not monetized. I was making $0, even though I was putting in 15, 20 hours a week, most weeks, in addition to my full-time job. So, even now, I'm monetized since February of 2022. I'm not making a lot of money. I'm lucky if I make $200 a month on YouTube, and then I got to pay out of that $200. Got to pay YouTube their share, which is 45%. Got to pay taxes. So if you actually figure out what I make an hour, you'd be probably disgusted. But yet, people will say, no one should make less than $15 an hour, $20 an hour. Insert the number. Well, I can tell you for sure, I'm not making anywhere near that on YouTube. I'm making, pennies in the dollar compared to a normal job. So if you're going to say people shouldn't do that, then I hope your dream isn't to be a YouTuber, because you're going to be working for way, way less than minimum wage for a long time. Some people never get monetized on YouTube, and a lot of the ones that do don't make the amount of money they think they're going to make. That's why you see so many channels quit. And if you notice, if you pick up on things, look at a lot of the channels. As soon as they hit 1,000 subs, which is the monetization number, 1,000 subs, 4,000 watch hours. Once they hit that number, you're going to see them quit. They realize, they probably had a notion of what they would make once they got monetized. And once they realize what they actually make, they decide, I would rather put my effort, time, resources into something that's way more profitable, which I can't knock people for doing that. I've considered doing that myself. You know, here I am sitting at 4,000 subs. I've really enjoyed YouTube thus far, but I can't promise I'm always going to do it. Depends what the future holds. YouTube could change things up. They could pay you less percentage. They could not push the channels as much. The platform could go away completely. So there's no guarantees in life. And the point is, the same people that complain that everyone should make $15 an hour minimum start YouTube channels and they work for free. But why aren't they complaining about that? You don't see them complaining that YouTube pays pennies on the dollar. I mean, what's the difference, really? You know, the point is, there's a lot of hypocrisy. Your goal should be to be a hard worker, do your best, get ahead in life, and stop, you know, wanting everyone else that's ahead of you to give you things that they worked hard to get. Because that's not fair, because someday you may be in that situation, and I bet you're not going to be willing to give everything you've worked hard to get away to someone who's not willing to do what you've done, or make the sacrifices that you've made. So that's going to be it for today's video. I'm sorry it was a little bit of a rant, but that was some stuff I wanted to get off my chest. And as promised, let's talk about why I haven't been posting as much on YouTube. The biggest reason, I'm going to be completely honest with you guys, the biggest reason is my videos haven't been getting pushed, which, you know, anyone who's a YouTube creator can testify. If you're putting a lot of effort into your videos, why would you continue making them every other day if they're not getting pushed a lot? Because there was a time period for multiple months, probably 3, 4, 5 months in a row. You can look back at my logs and my video dates that they were released. I was doing a video every other day. And the reason I did that is I thought it would push me more, because YouTube seems to like creators that push more content out, which, you know, for my type of video where I do actual projects and film outside and do things that involve spending money and weather and can be affected by weather, it's hard to do a video every other day, especially when working full time, which leads back into the, you know, people make excuses why they're not ahead, but I made it work. I did it for multiple months to see if it would push me up. It did help a little bit, but we're not getting the difference in views that I was getting from posting every week or every other week. So if I'm putting in 5 times the effort and only getting, you know, 1.2 times the success, there really isn't a lot of, you know, incentive to do that. It's a lot of extra work for no extra gain. Just like if you put all this extra effort in for 4 months at your job and you only made, you know, a few pennies extra in the dollar that you make, eventually you would say, this isn't worth doing. I'm just going to go back to working my normal, you know, you want to be rewarded for your hard work. That's normal. And the other reason is YouTube doesn't push videos as much in the summer, or people don't watch as much. I don't know if it's one or the other or both, but I'm not getting anywhere near the views on summertime videos, let's say May, June, July, as I do in fall and winter. And that makes sense because people are probably outside doing their own projects, doing gardening, mowing lawns, working, you know, just barbecues, vacations, spending time with family, which I get it. But in the winter, they have a lot more time to be inside watching videos. So as a content creator, you know, it's kind of hard to justify spending a lot of time in those months making videos and people aren't going to watch them. So what I might end up doing is making videos, getting them ready, and then not releasing them till the fall when I know they'll get better views, because ultimately, you know, I got to make money doing YouTube. Otherwise, it's not worth doing. Originally, I started out as, you know, it was a family thing. My kids enjoyed doing YouTube. I enjoy it. I still enjoy it, but like most things in most, you know, like most things in life, it evolved, and I saw that there was the opportunity to make money doing it, and you're going to get paid anyways. So you might as well maximize what you get paid. So if I'm going to maximize that pay, that means getting the most views possible, which means the most ads, the most money for me as a creator, because it costs a lot of money to do my videos. You know, a lot of people you watch on YouTube just talk about topics. They might film in one room every time. They spent money to get that room soundproof or whatever, and then there's really not a lot of cost. Maybe if they get new equipment, cameras, microphones, whatever, but ultimately they're not spending a lot of money in making their videos, whereas outdoor channels are going to spend hundreds, if not thousands of dollars a lot of times to make a video to get a small return. If I buy a piece of equipment, do a video on it, I might make $20 in a video, but it costs me $1,000 for the piece of equipment. Or if I build a building, I got to buy screws, I got to buy lumber, I got to buy different things, and you're not getting the money back. At least my channel. Some channels do. There are channels that make a lot of money on YouTube, and they can justify that kind of stuff. But my channel is not that size, and maybe someday it will be, but right now it's not. So I gotta, think smart. I have a lot of personal things that I have to do. I have a family. I gotta spend wisely, and spending a lot of money to make a small amount back on a video isn't spending wisely, in my opinion. But I do have some cool projects coming up. I don't plan to do many of these types of videos like today's. They're going to be back to the normal project videos, but I had to get this off my chest. Let me know in the comments what you think. Like I said, I'm not trying to make this into a political war, but I think we all need to kind of realize in America that things could be a lot worse. And I think that's where we might be headed if things don't change and people's attitudes don't change. So, till next time.